Hi everybody, it's been a while. I've got one for you today. It might be of interest to a very small group of people. It's to do with my coffee grinder. I have a Rocket espresso machine and a Rocket Faustino grinder. Now, it's a great grinder, but the problem with this grinder has always been when you try and do a hands-free grind of your coffee, this has a tendency to fall out. I've tried to resolve it by putting these little rubber bump stoppy things on, and it does kind of work. But what I noticed was on the latest machine, they've changed the design of this foot, which only screws on, and it's made of aluminium. And that got me thinking. On the one they've designed, at the end here, it curls around like a hook. So when you put the portafilter in, it can't fall backwards. It needs to be removed out of the hook, almost like a coat hanger hook. And then I remembered a while ago in one of my previous videos, I did a modification on a telescope, and I had some scrap aluminium left over, which looks remarkably similar in thickness to what's on that machine. Now, it's been butchered, but however, this section here seems undamaged. There's a hole on the back here. Now, there are two holes to mount this bracket on the coffee grinder, but I think they're only a centimetre down from the angle, so I think it's above this hole, so I might be able to chop that off. So what I'm going to do is mark up on here with some tape and see if it's feasible, and we'll see how we go. Okay, so I've taken the piece off, and here it is, and I've marked out the new shape. Now, I've flipped the design over, so because of the way I have it set up, if that's inside the grinder in that direction, it's easier for me to go in that way. But you can orientate that however you like. So I think I'm going to get away with the screw holes at the bottom as well. So I think what's left for me to do here is to hack away at this. It might take some time, but by the time I finish filing, it'll all slim out, because as you can see, the original piece is much more delicate in its dimensions, and by the time I finish filing, that will also sort of thin out a bit. And also down here, there's not the angle. I've not got the angle on it, but these actually taper inwards as they go. But anyway, it's a kind of almost a trial, but I'm going to try and get it right first time. And I'll be back when whenever I've cut that out. Anyway, let's see. Okay, so what I've done so far is I just used a reciprocating saw, a little handheld one, battery powered, and it went through that fairly easily. So I've cut the bottom out. There's the holes. I wanted to keep as much meat, the previous holes, and I'll file that down. And that's got the taper. I will file that taper down. I'm going to drill a hole here now, and then using the saw and Lord knows what else, I'll try and eat the rest of that out, and then using a burr grinder I will try and get that shape going, and I'll be back to show you my progress. Okay, so here I am. A lot of hacking and filing. We're still not quite there, but as you can see, if I put that next to, it might be better to see it from here. So eventually I'm going to taper the sides in so they sort of look prettier, really, because it's just a bit blocky, and file this smooth and just refine this, not too much because you have to catch the portafilter, just big enough for the portafilter to pass through this gap here. But so far the back's done, underneath still needs smoothing out. But as you can see, you could take the corner down if it's too blocky for you. But you know, when you look at the footprint of this, it's pretty square, so you could just thin it on this side, but we'll see how we go. Slowly. I'm going to now attack this center piece to see if I can smooth this out and get the portafilter to sit in there. So a bit more fettling, and we're at this stage now. So still a bit of polishing to do, but we're just looking for the shape for now. Now, the amount you leave here is a difficult one to figure out, because you need it wide enough so the portafilter will fit through, but big enough to stop it migrating back out, which I think I've done there, because it fits in and it will just catch it. Because these things just vibrate out of these holders. So I think that should be okay. I'm going to keep polishing, keep refining, and see where we're at. I've still got to sort of file that down flush, so I haven't got half a circle still showing there, although you never see it, but still, if you're going to do it. And punch the holes and drill the holes, and we'll see if it makes any difference or not. That's generally what it looks like on other portafilters, and we'll see if I've got that right or wrong. Okay, there it is. Now, I've only polished it as far as I have, because on my particular machine it's a brushed aluminium, but you could go all the way to a mirror finish on this, especially with the newer models, which are chrome. Now, what did I find out from that little exercise? It does improve, but I think the size of the hole has more of an impact than the hook at the back. Because on the portafilter, for example, it's a bit of a dish shape. And on the stock fitting, this is too narrow for this dish to sit inside snugly. So it rides on the top and then migrates out. On my one, more luck than judgment, it sits inside this circle. And the hook at the back does have some effect. So yes, it's an improvement. But if anybody is having trouble with their portafilter popping out, it's worth having a go. Get lots of sanding paper, files and drills, and you can get there. Any shape you want. You can refine the shapes to whatever you fancy. And yes, it will work. And that will, as you can see, bolt straight in there and take the place of the stock one, if that's your thing. Anyway, what do you think?